Hello and welcome to What the Tech from Boast AI, where we talk with some of the brilliant minds behind new and exciting tech initiatives to learn what it takes to tackle technological uncertainty and eventually change the world. I'm Paul Davenport, Boast's resident tech journalist, and today I'm thrilled to welcome Momentum's VP of GTM Strategy, Jonathan Kvarfordt. With over 15 years in revenue excellence, enablement, and GTM acceleration, Jonathan has successfully developed and implemented transformative enablement programs for businesses of all sizes across the globe. At Momentum, Jonathan's team has developed an AI GTM data orchestration platform that uses AI agents to help capture key insights, update systems, and automatically trigger next steps, turning data into action and helping businesses grow faster, smarter, and with fewer resources. For customers like Zscaler, DemandBase, Ramp, and 1Password, this has led to productivity gains of 3 to 10 hours per rep per week. But Momentum is just one of the many impressive missions that characterize Jonathan's journey through the innovation ecosystem. Along with founding the GTM AI Academy, Jonathan is also an adjunct AI professor and even an esteemed fellow podcaster. So I'm excited to pick his brain on his path through the tech world, the incredible work his team is accomplishing at Momentum, and what's next as we roll into 2026. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Jonathan.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. I don't know who wrote that intro, but that was very, very kind, whoever it was. So thank you for that.
I always love buttering our guests up before they hop on the show, but Jonathan, I'm very happy to have you. So I kicked it off with Momentum. Your team works with ours. We're big fans of what you do. I'm
Yeah,
specifically the go-to-market function over here at Boast, so I
love
really
it.
want to hear about the innovation that you're driving. But to kick things off, tell us about Jonathan. I alluded to it, but you wear many hats. It's not just your VP role at Momentum. You are really a mover and shaker in the AI space. Tell us a little bit about how you got into this.
Oh gosh, it's a long story. Well, first, I just want to say thank you. Pleasure working with you guys. I personally don't work with Boast, but my team likes you guys a lot. So it says a lot because my team I trust them a lot. So just hearing they like Boast as much as they do is really positive. So first, just want to say thank you. Um, I have a long journey. I'll tell you the short version. I was in sales since I was my mid-teens, long time, and then I switched over to enablement RevOps about 12, 13 years ago, and been in that world for a while. And then about 4 or 5 years ago, I was with a company who had acquired an AI technology that the guy in India built from scratch, his own model. It was amazing tech. So when they bought it, he became the chief AI officer, and I was in charge of doing the training enablement for both the customers and for the sales team on what the heck is AI and how to use it. And so I learned firsthand from a guy who built his own freaking model about AI, learned a ton because before that, I just heard about the Terminator stuff, and that's all I ever heard about AI. But afterwards, I got really good education on what AI is, what it does, what it can do. And then since then, I've been on this AI crazy journey. And obviously, ChatGPT came out 3 years last month. I jumped on the train because when I saw other people on LinkedIn talk about how they're using it and talking to AI, I'm like, this isn't how you do it. And the only reason why I knew that was because I had a mentor who literally built an AI model who taught me about it that I was training other people how to do the same thing. So, anyways, I launched the GTM Academy 3 years ago. I've had, I don't know, 10,000 plus people go through something like that, the courses and other information. And then at the same time, 2.5 years ago, 6 months after I started the academy, I was working at another company. I was looking for an amazing tech that could automate from conversations to a CRM automatically because the team I was with had 4 languages they talked to customers: Hindi, Portuguese, Spanish, and English. The problem is that every speaker could not natively speak English, so the notes we were getting were just crap. So I went out there and found an AI technology called Momentum.io, had the first meeting I had with the CEO, Santi, and was just blown away by both him as a person and then the technology. I'm like, freaking AI, I love this thing. Bought the technology, became a champion, then an advisor, and loved the tech and team so much that I eventually, literally, when the opportunity came, I went to the founder and said, I'd love to come work with you guys. So I did. That was back a year and a half ago. Started as a consultant. I came on full time, kind of like a RevOps enablement guy in the fall, and I took over marketing this year in February. So it's been a crazy journey. I still, like I said, teach at Brown University. I advise for 10 different companies on both go-to-market and AI. I just got done with a sales assembly training with 50 CROs about AI strategy. So I live, breathe, eat, teach, slot, talk, sell, buy, use AI. So how about that?
That is fantastic, Jonathan. Okay, my ears perked up at several different points. I'm going to call back on a few things
Let's
that
do
you
it.
ran through there, but that is amazing. First off, I love that you mentioned you started off at sales when you're in your teens, but your experience with AI started by getting hands-on with it. And again, having that mentor who was actually building the technology, building the algorithms, getting it all together and understanding the nitty-gritty of it all. I think we all go I've talked to a lot of founders who talked about how they've learned more outside of the theory of academia, actually getting their hands on the stuff and finding
Yep.
partners who are developing something net new that they're not even aware of in schools today. So, not to say that it's basically schools versus getting into the field immediately,
I'm
but
with
I
you.
think for AI, that's been kind of the big learning curve. And then another point you made too, I'm going to jump around a little bit, but you talked about when ChatGPT came out, you saw people were on social media talking about how they used it and how they were using it wrong. Could you unpack that a little bit? Like, what were some of the red flags that you saw just
Yeah.
casually looking out there with the knowledge that you accumulated, actually helping build the things and seeing how they get built, to how people were actually using them in the field when it first dropped? I know how we've used it, at least at Boast, and how I've used it personally has evolved significantly since ChatGPT first landed a few years back, but
Right.
I'd love to hear some of the red flags you initially came across.
Yeah, mostly it's I mean, this is again 3 years ago, so it's definitely changed since everyone's kinda gotten used to it now more, but, before it was everyone was, like, Googling ChatGPT, and back then with 3.5 back in the day, that was definitely not you had to do some advanced prompting to get anything good. Now the models are stronger and smarter that you don't sometimes have to do a strong prompting, but what I'm seeing in general is that when you have good prompting principles with the latest models now, it takes it's kinda like a compounding effect. So, like, in the past 3.5, you had to have some complex prompts and build it out and do it really intelligently. Now you don't have to and still get really good answers. But if I still use that advanced prompt from 3.5 today, that same prompt would be amplified 100-fold because it's a still well-written, well thought out prompt. It's just the models now are smart about accomplishing what I'm trying to do, and so therefore the prompt, because it's written well, matched with the really good AI power, is way better than would have been 3.5. Does that make sense? Both because of the logic and the prompt. So that's what I saw in general. It's just they're just Googling and doing one sentence things. And I think it's been training people of how to think more context information based, which they still are not very good at. Like I still teach people prompting all the time, and it's just amazing how many people just don't give enough information because they assume that the AI knows things that it doesn't know. And I'm maybe a little bit anal, but there's all sorts of information that the AI knows generally speaking about. I don't want it to guess what I'm saying. I want it to know what I'm saying. So a lot of times, a lot of the prompting critiques I have then and now is all about saying, does the AI know exactly what you're talking about? Because if it doesn't, you need to define it. Otherwise, it's just guessing. And it does a really good job guessing, but otherwise, it's going to make some terrible mistakes.
Absolutely. You just validated a lot of assumptions I had and a lot of just what I've seen anecdotally.
Yep.
So I'm a journalist. That's what I went to school for. Obviously, things changed since I graduated, went into the marketing space. I'm on the GTM side. I've been reporting to CROs primarily actually throughout my career.
Right.
So it's not necessarily the traditional path, but when ChatGPT came out and just generative AI, all the writers in the world were shaking in their boots. We just assumed, okay, well, we're going out the window. Couldn't emphasize more how the reality of it has not been that at all. Sure,
Right.
I can do more with less, but to your point, it's about the context. It's about being sure that you're giving them enough to actually be efficient and to actually know what you're doing. You can't just assume that AI knows best. I'm trying not to show all my cards here, but there's a specific platform that I use,
It's
and
all
I'm
right.
not asking them to create all of the content for me, but I'm writing the content, I'm taking the first pass. It's become my editor. It's become kind of that gut check to make sure that, like, okay, like,
Yeah.
aside from flagging for incorrections based off of the kind of Bible that I've given the AI to understand, like, this is the source of truth that you got to pull from when we're talking about these specific programs, it's a very good kind of filter to put my things through to make sure that it's actually at the tippity top when I have fewer resources and I have fewer teammates, for instance, necessarily to lean on for that kind of support. So,
Right. Right.
gonna use that to kind of volley into learning a bit more about momentum. You had also mentioned that language challenge. Now, Boast, we just serve North America, but I don't speak French, and Quebec is a major market for us. Fairly certain folks on our team actually use momentum, and we use various services to make sure that we're communicating effectively to that region. But digging into momentum, you talked about the genesis, you talked about what kind of attracted you to the product and the services and how you joined the team originally, but let's dig in a little bit more about kind of the actual solutions that you deliver and the kinds of problems you solve and companies that you work with.
Yeah, this is a really good question. Where do you want me to start? Because I could go a lot of different places. Try to make this succinct and hopefully important and
Yeah,
powerful.
Let's dive into basically who is your ideal user? Who is using Momentum every day? Is it a wide swath? Is it that sales guy who really needs to get to the heart of the matter and try to win over a lead? Or is it something a little more nuanced to that?
Let me begin by saying the differences between SaaS tech classically and then AI tech. So, in the past, for SaaS to be able to show its benefits, it required humans to log into some sort of platform and then be inside the technology to then therefore show adoption. The problem is that then you had 15 different technologies all asking everyone to be inside the technology to work, and it's a pain in the butt because I'm the one who had to train everyone how to use all the 15 tech. It's not fun. So that's the old world. The new world is when AI tech is asking the question, we don't want people coming to us. We want to go to them. We want to go to the workflow. So that, and that momentum is like the epitome of that, to where the people who benefit the most are the sales reps. They never touch it. So it's like, the question is, are they using it versus are they benefiting it? That's not the same question. The benefits are definitely for the entire team, but the main users are usually like the VP of RevOps or a CRO or other people who are receiving the data or who want to use the deep research product or something. Because the sales reps love the freaking tool, but they never touch it because it's doing all the work for them.
Sorry, but I just went to a fugue state taking notes there, but that makes
You're
sense.
okay.
And also, to be honest, that's a lot of kind of a shared ethos with what we have here at Boast. Everyone expects
Yeah.
that we're going to put a shiny platform in front of you. I'm like, that's actually not the point. We're not trying to give teams a DIY solution to get the job done. We have the automation to help our team actually get it done without them having to go into the platform. So that's kind of the beauty of it all. It's not that we're giving you another tool to get your hands dirty in and that you have to be trained on and that you really have to just take with
Yep.
you to all your calls or to any kind of documentation. We want to just make sure that it's working in the background and it's spinning there. So I just really relate to that. That's something that we share on the both side as well.
You kind of mentioned this before, so I'm going to hop around for a second. But like, I don't think people realize how important conversational data is because we're not used to having it. So like, when you think about all the conversations any team has, it doesn't matter if you have 5 people talking to customers and prospects or if you have 1,000, it doesn't matter. There's so much data coming in through to you that is unique to those conversations. And I believe those conversations, the conversational data is a moatable type data, because the only person, like for you, Paul, go talk to somebody about Boast and the problems they have and the things they're experiencing and all this stuff. You get all this information that can and should be used that no one else can replicate that specific conversation. When you take that and times it by 10 or 1,000, you have this massive data set that you have some really, really good power that would match or beat any Gartner, Forrester data set out there. The problem is no one can access it and they can't do anything with it. It sits in some Fathom, Gong, Chorus, whatever library, and it just sits there. So you can't do anything with it. So that's what we do is we literally take the data coming from conversations, emails, tickets, calls, whatever, and we slice and dice it, extract it, clean it, validate it, and then put it into the CRM so you can trust the data going in there. And AI thrives on clean data. So as soon as it's inside of it and it's structured and extracted, you have all these possibilities of automations and orchestrations you can do because you have the data. Otherwise, the problem is people are wanting to automate the CRM or other actions in the CRM, but they can't because the data doesn't exist. So momentum becomes a lot of times the infrastructure piece so that it becomes the first layer of AI automations that dumps in data from conversations. And from there, you can use like so much different technologies from Zapier to Make to NAN to Agent Force to all sorts of stuff, both advanced and new, all based on you have the data, which is already structured, clean, and validated. You know, so that's the thing I think people don't understand, and our customers who are geeking out are the ones who see the power of it because now they have the ability to do so many cool things, like with Ramp and Owner and 1Password and all these other companies. All the things you're doing, which is awesome with AI, all is founded on the conversational data they have that's been extracted, validated, and torn apart by momentum, which is crazy.
You just made that peanut butter and jelly for me. I can fully understand what you're talking about when you say the infrastructure layer too, because of
Yeah.
that explanation that you just gave. So basically, you need that clean data to power all the great flashy AI tools in the world that
Right.
that everyone's talking about, which are useless if they don't have that cleansed data, if they don't have that structured data, if they're given just the wrong information. And to your point, conversational data, it's something we're not used to, but it's a gold mine. It's something that if it's cleansed, if it's accurate, and we're making sure
It's
that you take
awesome.
out any of those, there's so much
It's
you can do
awesome.
with that. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, again, bringing it back to both what we do, like we do have more just like, we'll ingest all your data and it's less that conversational data historically, but increasingly
Hmm.
with higher audit standards and just basically people wanting to capitalize on more abstract kind of R&D. It's the conversations we're having with those teams and recording those conversations and capturing that verbal whiteboarding that happens when you're actually doing that R&D and product development work. that is moving the needle and that we're actually able to apply to those claims. So we're kind of proof in the pudding there. If we have clean data, our platform's able to work better. Momentum helps get that clean conversational data for our platform and for others. So just make sure that no opportunity is left off the table if something comes up organically in conversation that can't be actioned on. So again, might be a bit of
Yeah.
a stretch, but I would want to call that out because it's so true.
Yeah.
Conversational
No,
data is so untapped. Yeah.
well, I mean, you think about the data you guys are providing, right? I don't think people understand how much information, like, for example, what is your, I'm going to ask a question for you really fast. So I can answer a question or to say a thought. What is the bread and butter data that Bose gives or gets or receives or whatever? What's your bread and butter?
Yeah, I mean, historically, it's time tracking data, but it's R&D.
Yeah, R&D. So like when you think about the different possibilities of data combinations, I think the new world is um where you can combine all these different data sets. So if you have like a Clay or a Apollo or whatever the case is, you have this third party data. Then you have this really cool R&D data. Then you have conversational data, and then you have like CRM data, like how big a deal is and all whatever the thing is. You start having this ability to have this holistic view of data that we've never been able to do before, which opens up all sorts of possibilities from an aggregate data point of view. Because you can say, okay, I can see this R&D data. When I match that with finance, when I match that with sales data, when I match that with conversational data, match that with CRM data, you have this complete view that changes how you think about and make decisions on literally everything. Because before you were just flying blind. You're like, well, I think this is good, but it's the one thing I learned from MBA is use data to make decisions over and over and over again. Um, and I just don't think people understand like how powerful that is because we've never had it before. It's not their fault. We've never had this data. So it's
No,
like
no.
now that we're having this world, it's like I feel that's one of my reasons why I'm doing webinars and stuff like this, or not webinars, sorry, podcasts, is because I feel like it's up to me to say, this is what you have when you have amazing data. Like experience amazingness with us. So yeah,
That's incredible. And that's like the privilege of the moment and the opportunity of the moment is that we now have
exactly.
access to this data, but it's a challenge too. And you're helping make sure that people can capitalize on that challenge, which is, again, music to my ears. And
Yep.
having that holistic view of the data and just, it's a whole new gold mine that we can dig into. It's just a whole new avenue
Yep.
for information that you can actually take action on. That's music to my ears.
Right.
All right. Jonathan, now what's up for the team going into the new year? I know we're recording this now in early December. This will probably be dropping early January. So you might be our New Year's baby of an episode, but I'd love to know
Cheers, baby.
where is momentum going? What's even on your calendar? I know that you've got quite the road show behind you. What's ahead?
Oh man, that's a good question. So, um, for me personally, I'm going to be launching a course in the academy that's completely and totally top of AI. Like I'll probably have an intro video saying, here's the course, here's whatever's going on, but everything else, like the courses, the quizzes, the content, everything will be done by AI. And I don't know if it's going to work, but we're going to try it and see how it works. So I like to play like I told people like just come in. This is going to be free. Tell me if it sucks. Like let's just see how it works. If you like it, great. I won't know unless I try it. So I need some guinea pigs, and of course I'm not charging for it just to get some good feedback. And I'm excited to see what results people get. So that's one thing I'm excited about. Two, Momentum just released a book. We just did it 2 weeks ago, so it's going really well. We'll probably do some book tours, which has been fun. And then for the product, we just released the deep research product, which we're doubling down into. So we're doing a lot more aggregate analysis, and I'll give you an example of what is some really cool stuff happening. Um,
Yeah.
when you think about like one things we do is called signals, which is nothing new to anyone listening to this. Um, for us, it's about the signals coming from first party conversational data. And what's interesting is we're starting to find patterns inside of the signal data to augment or even possibly replace a classic pipeline review. So like most pipeline reviews have to do with like exit criteria and who's doing what and what stage and all this kind of stuff. I see a world where an AI that has access to all the conversations and has signals into the market. So they can see like, okay, we have information from G2, they're looking at G2 data, and then we have our own conversational data. All these data start working together.
Mhm.
That pipeline reviews become a review of data and signals versus just the opinions of the salespeople. Not that that's bad, because it's a relevant and important data point, but it's not the complete picture. So I see the new world going into it. Next year is when we're able to then really have a pipeline review meeting that is looking at the entire data set, not just the opinion of a salesperson. That makes sense? And
That
so
makes
I'm
perfect sense.
excited. I'm excited about our part of that, which is going to be what are the signals and the collection of signals from a um, uh, first party conversational data. Like an example of that would be if a new competitor comes on the market, as an example, and I have the system to not only say, hey, they're popping up, here's the battle card, but I also have a system to say, this competitor has popped up in this industry, in this size of deal, by this persona, this many times in the last week. And then how does that change week over week? So it's more that aggregate view versus call by call analysis. That's what we'll be digging into a lot more, because we've just seen so many cool things happen as a result of that kind of analysis that gives a lot of power to people. So whether it's product or competitors, or whether it's the talk tracks of the sales team or whatever it is, now have this ability to see, like, is it going up? Is it going down? And then when you, again, mix it with the third party data of, like, are they looking on G2 for the competitors? Are they doing whatever? It just depends on whatever they're looking at. It becomes really, really powerful, which I'm excited about.
That's so exciting. I mean, it's basically building a single source of truth for your entire pipeline that, again, is unimpeachable
Yes.
at a certain point. I've been on so many pipeline reviews where, again, it's so anecdotal, and I'm just like, guys, there's got to be some hard truth to what we're saying here, and our disagreements that we're having about this person's interest and what we've gauged from our
Right.
conversations, or what we've gauged from the signals, like you're even saying. But how much insight does the sales team actually have on that? I think you got to look into the data, like you had said, get that actual information front and center so that you can
Yeah.
review it and not just make it like, all right, here's your book
Well,
report on what it was like trying to chase this one lead.
Well, it's tough because, like, I mean, how would any of this feel that every week you have to go into a meeting, we have to justify your existence and then not be subjective with the information, because if it's bad information, you'll get fired. Like, how many of us would actually do that? No one. But we ask the sales team to do that all the time. So it's like, and not that I never want to throw salespeople under the bus because they have I used to be in sales. It's a hard job. But at the same time, we have to realize the fact of the matter is they are extremely subjective in what they're going through, which is not, again, a bad data point. It's very valid and very important. The problem is if you get like you've seen this before. You have a sales rep who's either way too critical or way too positive. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to close 20 deals out of 30. Like, I don't think you're going to close 5 of these, bro. What are you talking about? Like, that objectivity is one of the biggest things CROs come to us for, is figuring out, all they hear is this subjective, we're going to win, but yet we always keep losing. Where the heck is the disconnect? That's where I think the power comes from, because then the subjectivity adds to that light versus being the only thing you can have to rely on, you know?
It's more of a help me help you scenario too. It's just when you have
Yeah,
that sort of truth and you can really see the actual state of the state in terms of this relationship that you're building, and flavor that with the subjective stuff and the anecdotal stuff. Like, that
exactly.
actually helps any sales individual who may be listening being like, this is going to make my job harder because I can't hide behind my personal relationship with this lead. No, we're actually empowering you to meet them where they're at better, because we know where they're at and we know where they're going based on these
Yeah,
signals. So I'm with you, Jonathan. That is exciting stuff. And again, that new class on all AI, I really want an update on how that goes once that
for
gets
sure.
wrapped, once that's kicked off. So I will stay in touch with
We'll
Jason on
see.
that one.
I
So,
got to figure out, like, how I'm going to measure it, but yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be a fun experiment. So
no, I mean, that's blazing a new trail. I'm sure others have tried it and not been honest about it, but like, yeah, this is fantastic and cool. So I'm curious. But yeah, exciting stuff for you personally, exciting stuff for Momentum. Again, we love that we can partner with you. Love having somebody with this much
appreciate it.
energy hop on the mic with me. Again, to just kind of talk shop,
Yeah,
especially cold winter day over here. I'm sure it's pretty similar out there in
it's cold
Utah.
here too. I
So
got my heater and my blanket on, so I'm with you.
same. I was very worried I was going to have a runny nose or be congested for this call, but
Yeah.
feels like we pulled it off. Can't thank you enough.